Tahini. This is a paste made from ground raw sesame seeds. It can make a candy like halva, and it's a major ingredient in hummus. But I like to use it most in baking. It provides an incomparable flavor and texture to most baked goods. Today we're making tahini swirl brownies, sesame chocolate chip cookies, and chai spice tahini shortbread. I'm Chef Heidi Fink, and that's what we're cooking on the coast. Welcome to the kitchen. Today we're going to be baking. Let me introduce you to one of my very favorite ingredients for baking, tahini. It's a smooth, flavorful butter made from sesame seeds, and it adds an incomparable flavor and texture to baked goods of all kinds. Today we are making brownies, cookies, and shortbread. Let's get baking. I'm going to start with brownies. These are tahini swirl brownies. So if you've ever eaten halva before, which is a soft, fudge-like, delicious confection you can buy at the grocery store. It's made with sesame seeds. This brownie is gonna taste like halva. It's mixed with brownies. It's delicious. I've got some melted butter in this pot, and I'm going to be adding some chopped bittersweet chocolate and some cocoa powder to just boost up that chocolate flavor. But we wanna actually remove that from the heat. We're not cooking it. We're just mixing it into this melted butter until the chocolate melts and everything is nice and smooth. I might have to revisit that in just a second. Now we're gonna mix a tahini mixture as well. So this is like a chocolate batter and a tahini batter that gets swirled together. So in this bowl, I have some sugar mixed with a little bit of salt, and I'm gonna add the tahini to this. One of the easiest ways to measure anything for baking is to use a kitchen scale. I would highly, highly recommend getting a kitchen scale. For this recipe, we need 3/4 of a cup of tahini, or we need 195 grams. I'm going to just measure this in the scale. So weighing out 195 grams of tahini is a million times easier than trying to measure this in a measuring cup. But 3/4 of a cup is what you need. I just need a little bit more. There you go, that's perfect. That's so dead easy. And then you don't have to scoop it out of a measuring cup or anything like that. And then in this, we're gonna have 2 eggs. So to recap, I have my 3/4 of a cup of tahini. I have 2 eggs. I have some sugar and salt. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of vanilla to that, 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Now we're gonna whisk that together until it's a smooth paste. All right, that's looking really good. We wanna get it all out of the whisk. There we go. Mostly out of the whisk anyways. Now I'm gonna use a spoon or a spatula to mix the flour into this. So we've got some flour. This is a mixture of flour and baking powder. Now we're making this tahini batter. You don't wanna use a whisk for this part because it's way too thick. So that's one of the other things about baking is you have to know when to use a whisk, when to use a spoon, when to do things by hand, and when to use a machine. So now we have this beautiful, beautiful tahini batter. So this is basically like a blondie batter, if you've ever had that, but with tahini. I'm gonna put some of it separate. So this is gonna be our swirl. So you wanna put a little less than half, you can just kind of eyeball it, into a separate bowl. And then we are going to put the chocolate into the main part of our batter here. That looks so good. And then I'm gonna whisk that together. Then I'm gonna show you a really great trick for how to prepare a pan for baking. Now you wanna make sure to incorporate this as smoothly as possible. All right, so now what we have here is we have a brownie batter and a tahini batter. The brownie batter also has some tahini in it, so it kind of works really well. Now I'm just gonna show you a trick for prepping our pan. So I don't know about you, but I always like to use the leftover butter wrapper as a way to butter my pan. I might have just learned that from my grandmother, but it works really, really well. Butter the bottom of the pan. And now I have 2 strips of parchment that I'm gonna put in the bottom. They should cover they should be exactly the right width to cover the bottom of the pan. Then I just put a little bit of butter on this one just to help the second piece of parchment stick. Then I put the next piece of parchment down like so. So now you have a way to easily lift this batter out of the pan, or the brownies out of the pan after they're cooked. So now what I'm gonna do is pour this batter. So we put the chocolate one in first, and we spread it out as evenly as possible. I didn't put quite enough butter in the second layer because it's smoothing around. Normally it does not do that. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our tahini batter that we have, basically like a blondie batter, with a spoon, and we're gonna drop it. So we're gonna drop it on top, like that. And once we have the batter all finished, we're gonna swirl it. There we go. I've got batter on my hand. It's always really tempting to lick the spoon, but I have to not do that. So then I just take the back of a spoon like this, or you can use one of those bamboo skewers, and then you're going to draw the spoon through and swirl it up like so. It looks so good. You can make patterns. You get this nice like black and white mixture going here. So we have this beautiful tahini swirl brownie mixture. I'm gonna put that in the oven. They take about half an hour to bake, but of course I have one already made. Here's the one I made earlier. Because you have to let brownies cool completely before you cut them. But you can see how easy it was for me to just lift this right out of the pan. We'll be back later in the show to finish up our brownies, our shortbread, and our salted tahini cookies. But first, we're on the road. I'll see you after the break.
Cookin' on the Road is brought to you by Country Grocer, your local store where you'll feel like family.
I'm here at Vanillablossom Flavors in Sanish, BC, and I'm with the owner, Dave Best. And Dave, please tell us all about how you got started.
2001, my father and I decided to get into business together, making vanilla and spices. We've been going for 21 years now. My father passed away in 2013, so I've been at the helm since then. The product that we started with was our 150 ml pure Madagascar vanilla extract, and then we started making paste, spices, seasonings, and herbs, and of course our espresso extracts and our chocolate extract.
Which I am very, very excited about, because that would just make a really intense, like if you're gonna make tiramisu or coffee ice cream or, I don't know, like a shaft cocktail.
Yeah.
If you could possibly show us what a vanilla bean looks like and how to use it, because I think there's some people, they've seen vanilla extract, maybe even vanilla paste, but maybe they don't know how to use a full vanilla bean.
Yeah, this is a typical vanilla bean. You got the base of it, and you got the hook. That's usually where it was attached to the vine. And then how you use a vanilla bean, which is you grab your knife and you just gently go down it. They're not that hard, they're not like a coffee bean. Split it open like this. And then you take the bean into 2 bits like this. You see how moist it is on the inside? Can you see all the black goodness?
Yeah, I can totally
as you open up that.
I can even smell it as you're opening it up.
So as you're gonna use this, and you grab a little teaspoon, and you just do this.
Scrape it all out.
So that is called vanilla caviar.
Oh, wow.
And that's really what everyone wants.
And so how do you make that into an extract?
So an extract, chop the beans up into little pieces like this.
Okay.
Because you're opening up the surface area. And you take that and you throw that into a bottle of vodka. We do it on a little bit bigger scale.
Yeah. Can you show me?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'd love to see
Let's go.
Okay.
So this is our extractor, 700 liters. Has a false bottom in it. In the brewery world, this is called a mash tun.
Wow.
Same kind of thing. This is where all the vanilla beans sit on top of the false bottom.
So the chopped up ones that you did?
Yep, all the chopped up ones will sit on here. And then we have steady flow of alcohol and water through our sparge arm here.
Okay.
And
this just like sprays all over.
yeah, sprays everywhere and gives even distribution over top of the grain. And then it goes down through the bottom and back into the tank, and it just keeps the cycle going for a couple of weeks.
So if I want to buy Vanillablossom products, where do I go to get it?
You can get it at any local grocery stores, as well as we are now nationwide. You can get it as far as Cape Spear, Newfoundland if you want. And you can go to vanillablossom.com and we'll deliver anywhere in Canada, US, around the world, we'll deliver.
I would really like to try it. How do you try vanilla extract?
Well, unless you're crazy like me and you drink it,
Oh, really?
I have to do that for taste testing purposes. But ice cream or beer. But I happen to have some ice cream that one of my customers dropped off for us.
I would love to try it.
Okay, sure, let's go. Dan from Fontainebleau, he has made some vanilla bean ice cream.
All right.
He uses our vanilla beans, and well, let's have a little try.
Yeah, I'm gonna try this.
Here. Okay.
Oh yeah. It's so good. You can really, really taste that vanilla. And you know, I don't like it when people use the term vanilla to denote something plain because it's so flavorful. Thank you so much for letting me see your operation and showing me how to do everything and your products. This is amazing.
Thank you so much for coming by.
Welcome back. We're gonna move right into our chai spice tahini shortbread and our salted tahini chocolate cookies. Just a few more steps to go. With my chai spice shortbread, I'm mixing together with my whisk some flour and salt. What I have here in my mixer is some butter. It's just over half a cup. We wanna make sure the butter is at soft room temperature, but you wanna make sure that it is not too soft. In here, I have some what I call chai spices, so cardamom, cinnamon, and ginger. Mostly cardamom in here with a little bit of cinnamon and ginger. It's looking good already. Now, I have a mixture of white sugar and the golden yellow sugar here. Now, I like to use a bit of both because the golden yellow sugar gives a little bit of a light caramel flavor to our shortbread. I do this even if I'm just making regular shortbread. I'm gonna just turn that on again. Now I'm gonna add some tahini. Hope you can hear me over this mixer as I pour the tahini in there. I'm gonna stop this mixer for a second just because I'm having a hard time getting right in there. I just wanted to make sure I didn't get my spatula stuck in this paddle. Now I'm going to also scrape the sides down again. Now if you've never heard of tahini before, you'd be surprised to know it's in something you eat probably on the regular. It's a main ingredient in hummus. It's used extensively in the Middle Eastern cooking. It is used for both sweet and savory food, and you can buy it at any supermarket. They have it where you buy peanut butter, almond butter, that kind of thing. All right, I'm gonna add a little bit of vanilla to that. The last thing that goes in here is our mixture of flour and salt, just a pinch of salt. Now, there's no leavener in this, so no baking powder, no baking soda. That's very typical of shortbread. They're a sandy, buttery, delicious cookie. It looks so good. All right. So you should end up with a very firm dough. And what we're gonna do with this is we're going to scrape it. Hang on, where's my parchment? Right here. We're gonna scrape it into a piece of parchment paper or wax paper or plastic wrap. And we are going to roll it into a log. You can also put this inside the tube of a paper towel, but it does make really small cookies when you do this. This doesn't want to stay open. Stay open. Here we go. All right. Now we are just gonna, you know what's one of my very favorite things is actually touching dough. This is one of the reasons I love baking and making bread. I just love the feel of dough. Here we go. This is about as big as you want it. It's about 30 centimeters or 12 inches. You're gonna roll it up and try to roll it so that it's round, like so. Now this we put in the fridge until it's firm enough to slice. I'm gonna put this in the fridge and I'm gonna grab the one I made earlier. So I have some that I made earlier in some plastic wrap. Now it's nice and firm. It's better to refrigerate this, don't freeze it. I have a special little cutting board here. This is one of my favorite tips, is to always have a separate cutting board for cutting anything sweet, nuts, chocolate, fruit. I really like wooden cutting boards, and wooden cutting boards often absorb garlic and onion flavors. So have a separate cutting board, a sweet cutting board. Now we're gonna cut this about 1/2 centimeter wide, like so. These aren't perfectly round, if you can live with that. I prefer the slightly larger size of this, of not putting it inside a tube. So this is perfect any time of year, but I especially like this around Christmas time. There we go. We just put it on our cookie sheet. I'm gonna put those in the oven. I do have some already cooked of those as well. I very quickly wanted to show you one more thing, and that is our how to scoop out a regular cookie dough. So I have made a batter already of our salted tahini chocolate cookies. So this cookie dough is very basic, but I wanted to show you a trick on how to make perfectly round and perfectly sized cookies. So I have another one of these cookie sheets, and then I have this scoop. So this 1 ounce scoop you can get at any kitchen store. You use it to portion out cookies. Oops, but you don't want this extra bit. Like that. But that way you can get exactly the same amount in each cookie, and it's also perfectly round. We just flatten them slightly, like this. And then if you want that salted tahini flavor, you sprinkle the tops with a little tiny bit of salt. Just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit on each one. And then we put those in the oven. And I have some of these cooked already as well. I'm gonna put these in the lower oven. So in the interest of time, I pre-baked some so that I could show you how they look done. I just really love the look of these tahini chocolate salted cookies. And I'm going to cut the brownies, and then we'll arrange it on a platter, like we'll have a little tea party. There we go. So brownies, you can cut them into 12 or 16. It depends on if you like a little brownie or a big brownie. I kind of like a little brownie, you know, because they're pretty intense. But you can see the beautiful swirls on the top of these brownies. Here, I'll take this one, looks more pretty, I think. You can see the beautiful swirls on the top, and you can see on the inside. This is just one of my absolute favorite dishes, and it's one of my favorite baked goods. I'm gonna arrange these on a little platter. You don't have to serve these all at once. I often do one type of tahini cookie with other types of things, but it's one of my all-time favorite baked goods. There you have it. We have tahini swirl brownies, salted tahini chocolate cookies, and chai spice tahini shortbread. Nut-free, allergy-free, and so delicious.
Pairings are brought to you by Liquor Plus. Discover the plus.
How do we pair with desserts? To help us out is Clay from Moon Distilleries. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. We have some tahini-based desserts, so there's a little bit of spices in here, chocolate in both of these, some salt, but they're quite sweet. So I'm very curious to know what you brought.
Yeah, so after a really sweet meal, usually you want something that's going to pick you up, unless you're willing to go to bed for the night. So, so I brought my Shaft, which is the Shaft liqueur. It's an original cocktail developed in Victoria. Some people will say it came from Calgary. Some people say it's from Whistler, but I like to believe that it's from right here.
I also think that it's from the island, but.
Yeah, so we were the first distillery to put a Shaft in a packaged bottle.
Okay, so it has everything like the coffee.
Yep, everything's mixed. So normally a Shaft would be a shot of Kahlua, a shot of espresso, a vodka mixed over ice with a little bit of cream.
Okay.
So we go ahead and do all that for you at Moon. So I make an infusion of almonds and cocoa nibs and espresso and a simple sugar. And then blend that all together at 30%.
Okay, so
and you can take that home.
Oh, wow.
So 2 ounces of liqueur.
Oh, wow.
Over ice with 2 ounces of either heavy cream. Yeah, you can substitute in almond milk or any sort of non-dairy alternative there.
I'm loving how this looks. I can already smell that this is going to pair perfectly with these cookies and these brownies.
It's nice and sweet. It's got those chocolatey notes. Always drink it with a straw.
Okay.
But it also has that espresso in there, so that can give you a little bit of energy at the end of the night after a heavy meal.
So I'm stirring this up?
Yeah.
Okay, cheers. Oh, wow. Okay. New favorite. Thank
Still
you so much.
boozy,
Yes, this is great. Okay. Oh, did you just down that whole thing?
Yeah, that's usually supposed to be the way it's supposed to be. So.
Sorry, I'd be on the floor, guys, if I did that. Let's try this with the cookie.
Yes.
I'm gonna sip this in a civilized way.
Yeah, there's no wrong way to do a shake.
No.
So. You can sip on it. You can just have it chilled. You can not add the ice, but after a long shift, if you're ready to get the night going right away, you want to get out to the pub. You want to shoot that as fast as possible.
Right, so you get the coffee with the alcohol.
Yeah.
This tastes so good. This tastes like a very sophisticated, not quite as sweet Bailey's coffee situation, but like better. I just think it's so good.
Yeah, we used to make them all the time on camping trips and that, and you're having to have a container of Bailey's, some Kahlua, the ice, the cream, the espresso. So this way, it's all mixed together for you.
This is excellent, and it does pair beautifully. Actually, because the tahini has kind of a richer flavor than a typical baked good, so this pairs really well.
Excellent.
And also, I just noticed there's some medals hanging on the necks of these bottles.
Yes, we just entered our first spirits in the Canadian Artisanal Distilled Spirits Contest.
Okay.
So for craft distillers, we actually won a gold for the shaft. So that's a gold medal in liqueur category. And we also won a bronze for our whiskey, which we've just started to release, and our Moon vodka as well. So everything's made with island-grown, 100% ingredients.
Excellent.
So we do Field 5 Farm wheat and barley, and it's malted right here on the island. So
this is amazing. Thank you so much for joining us. This was great, and I might be tempted to drink this whole thing, but I would maybe not get home. Thank you.
Thanks.
We would love to see your take on these baked goods. Share your photo and tag us on social media at Chef Heidi Fink, at Czech Media, and maybe at Moon Distilleries. For more information on the recipes, just follow the links. I'm Chef Heidi Fink. Remember, the more you learn, the better it tastes. Thank you so much. I might actually dip this in this. Let's try that. Let's try to dip.
Got a little dry. I shouldn't have drank all that.
Are you trying that so fast?